Hey everybody, and welcome back. In today's video we're going to look into the JavaScript Scratch Pad. So the JavaScript Scratch Pad is basically like a bigger version of the console. And you might be thinking, well, why don't I just type in and use the console to evaluate different statements that I need to check out? Well, you can do that. And the Scratchpad kind of gives you a bigger environment and more text editor feel type of environment to design larger functions and scripts and see how they run. So for instance, I have this guy, my Hackify post script, and it basically just takes a subtitle, which is a string, and a body, which is a string, and it runs it through this function, and it just basically formats the subtitle for a specific reason that I need for my blog posts. And it just returns the fixed post body string. So that's great, but in order to run this, you have to have it in some sort of HTML file and be executed. And sometimes that's not always the easiest thing to do, especially if it is dependent on other things to run. So what you can do is you can throw this into the JavaScript Scratch Pad in the Mozilla Devtools and evaluate it there, and it'll give you some information. So let's do that. So I have this file saved, Hackify post, and right here I could either copy and paste it in, but you can actually go in and open the JavaScript file right from the developer tools. So I click open and you can see it loads in. So it's loaded in, and now let's execute this function. So with our data, we can write the function out and see what it evaluates to. And when it does that, when you type that in, you can see it brings up this pop-up that gives you a suggestion of what arguments it's looking for. So a subtitle, which is a string, and then a body, which is also a string, and then it's going to return a string, and that kind of gives you an idea of what the function is going to do. So let's add in subtitle and body. And the interesting thing about the Scratchpad is it'll evaluate the last statement that gets evaluated in the entire script. So if I had this body variable declared down here and I inspect it or run it, it's gonna evaluate the body variable and print out the value of it. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Also, you notice that there's no let or const variable declaration keywords for the global scope. We don't need that, and it causes issues because it thinks you're trying to re-declare them every time you run it. So to avoid that, you just alleviate the variable declaration words and it'll do it automatically. For the function, it is function scoped with the let keywords, so you don't have to worry about that. Alright, so we have our Hackify post function typed up. And if we click, we can either click one of these three buttons, run, inspect, and display. And run is going to evaluate it, but it won't give us any type of visual output. Inspect will run the function, evaluate it. It'll return an object of the evaluation. The display will do almost the same thing as the inspect, but it'll do it in line with JavaScript comments. So let's take a look at this. Alright, so you can click run, and as you see, it doesn't do anything visually, but actually the function has been evaluated and ran, and now our returned fixed post body is available and declared. If we click the inspect button, you'll see that this panel shows up on the right, and it shows us the evaluated value of the function. So you can see h2 class equals subtitle a long time ago, h2, and then a break, and then the post body. So it's successful. And if we click display, it'll just evaluate it and put the result in line like that. We can also have the pretty print function. What does that say? Uh-oh. Apparently we can't use template literals in the pretty print function right now, so about that, not quite sure, but just avoid using template literals right now, or template strings. So if you have that and you're happy with it and you want to save any type of changes that you made, you can click the save or save as button. Pretty self-explanatory. Now it's definitely got its use cases for why you would use the JavaScript Scratch Pad over something as simple as just the console. I think mainly because you can get more of a breakdown of the evaluation. Say if you wanted to like evaluate an object and take a look at all the different properties inside it, it'll do that. Which you can do that on the console as well, but this will give you kind of more control over an entire script. It is good for more in-depth console.logging, so to speak. And with that, I think that'll do it for today's video. Go ahead and play around in the JavaScript Scratch Pad. It's got its quirks, but it's definitely got its very nice uses as well. So if you ever get bored or want to use something different and just play around a little bit, the Scratch Pad is a lot of fun and it's very useful. This has been a video for Mozilla Devtool tips brought to you by RabbitWerks JavaScript. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more awesome content, and check out my upcoming videos and live code alongs. Thank you.